One of my favorite podcasts is a World War II podcast called We Have Ways of Making You Talk. And they recently did a series on the hunt and the sinking of the Bismarck. And gee, it was very good. Now, the book that they recommended in their podcast was by a guy named Ludovic Kennedy. Unfortunately, my library didn't have a copy of it, and the book is not available on Kindle, so I just couldn't get it. I picked up C.S. Forester's book, Sink the Bismarck, and I realized, I had read it a long time ago, but I realized a lot of it is dramatized and fictionalized, and I wasn't really up for that. I wanted something factual. So I got this Angus Konstam book, Hunt the Bismarck, and gee, it was good. Now, to review, the Bismarck left its harbor, I think, in some place in Poland, slid around past Sweden and Denmark, got out up the Scandinavian coast, parked a little bit outside of Bergen. Then it went around the top of Iceland and came down through a thing called the Denmark Strait. When it got down there, it sank the British battle cruiser, the Hood. And then it was out in what to me looks like the North Atlantic. Well, the British pulled out all the stops. They pulled ships from the Mediterranean, from convoy duty, from all this kind of stuff to try to assemble what they could to take this Bismarck, this existential threat, out of business. Now, there were three main things that I took away from this. The first one was how willing the British were to run tremendous risks, pulling these ships all together just to get this one battleship. They obviously saw this thing as an existential threat, and they risked a lot doing this. The second thing about it was how seriously the Bismarck was faster and more powerful than anything that the British had afloat. So the British, even though they had a lot of ships, they were clearly underdogs in any fight with the Bismarck. Now, the third thing, and I was amazed by this, the way they eventually got the Bismarck was that they had an airplane that managed to a couple of airplanes that managed to jam the rudder with torpedoes, jam the Bismarck's rudder, which made it unmaneuverable and ultimately led to its being able to be captured. Now take a look at the airplane. It's called the string bag. It belongs, I think, looking at it, in World War I, not in World War II. And I think about the pilots who were flying these things against the most modern battleship in the world. They had to have balls the size of watermelons. Just absolutely incredible. Well, Angus Konstam's book, I thought, was excellent. It was very lean. It's well-paced. It does a great job. He has very decent maps. I mean, I'll admit I didn't know where the Denmark Strait was until I picked this book up. Now, when you get to the end, when the Bismarck is meandering all over the place with a jammed rudder, the maps are just a bunch of squiggly lines on a piece of paper. But still, they help you understand it. So I thought Angus Konstam's book, I thought it was first rate. I thoroughly recommend it. And I also recommend this podcast, We Have Ways of Making You Talk. That's my recommendation this week.